This is the news review segment on the AM show. Before I introduce my guest to you this morning in the studio, a gentle reminder that today is day 3 of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair at the Accra International Conference Center. Do well to pass by. They're offering mouth-watering discounts and so many goodies that you don't want to miss. My guest this morning is Mr. Benjamin Akakpo, and he joins me in the studio. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, sweetie. How are you?
I'm fabulous. Today is the first day of November, and today we break comms on the 3rd edition of the Girl Get Up annual seminar. So I'm really excited today, and I'll be telling you all about it in the course of the program.
Well, exciting, of course, and I've passed through at least once, so
yes, you have.
I have a fair idea what happens. So we're going through our newspapers, and of course, the Joy News or the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is also up and running through the weekend, and we'll be heading there in due course at some point in the day.
I was there on the starts of, I think, or the very first day. That was Wednesday, and I've seen some of the stalls that have been put up and the goodies there, Benjamin. And I think I was very lucky because I just got a house. Not like I bought a house or anything. I just acquired a property. And I'm
why are you shying away from, if you bought a house, you bought a house?
Well, I'm just giving that clarity. And so I'm obsessed with decorating, you know, making the place look like my home. When you enter my home, I don't want you to see a house that's been decorated. I want you to see me. And there are so many things. If you're like me and you want to put things around in a way that reflects your personality and persona, Benjamin, you should really pass through the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair. I'm telling you, you have to trust me. You will not be disappointed. I think Syntex Tank is giving away 1 free tank. Virtual Security Africa says they will beat any price on the market that matches their quality in terms of everything security, from CCTVs, from doors and locks and all that. So yeah, there are so many things there that you, our cherished audience, we did it for you. So pass through and get yourself some goodies to get a house and make it a home. Do you have a land yet? They're offering some mouth-watering discounts, Mr. Akakpo.
Not information I'm disclosing, but of course, if you want some of that prime land as well, there are so many outfits there. So everything you want, from doors, some of these latest Turkish, whether it's Turkish or Chinese doors you want. If it's accommodation, different forms of real estate, you can get them there. Many entities. If it's about water distilling, especially in these days, this time and age when we are talking about, galamsey and its effects on water, or if it's about storing water, like Sweetie spoke about, Syntex Tank, among others. Nothing is left out. And your bathroom as well. Toiletries, or better still, toilet wear, right? Your washroom wear. All of that is there. I think the last time we had this entity come, I've just forgotten their name, but they have a wide range of products, including the toilet bowls without lids. And there's some science to why you should be getting those. So just pass through the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair and we'll serve you. We'll be there. But having spoken about those, I just want to sneak in some thoughts about the power situation. And today, when I delve into my blunt thoughts, it's the last issue I'm going to be looking at. Do you have power sustained, stable throughout the week?
Yeah, I do. Okay,
not my case.
There's a caveat though. I'm not home all the time during the the course of the day. I'm home at from further about. So maybe when it's out, I don't know, but I haven't experienced it yet.
Well, for my end, a little over a month, maybe a month and a week, a month and 2 weeks, consistently every week, about twice, what I get to see. About twice my power goes off. And it's usually anywhere from 5 thereabouts to 6 thereabouts. And then it goes off till maybe 11 thereabouts or after midnight. Sometimes it comes back at dawn. The penultimate one I experienced was a wide area because I was returning from the Tema area and you could tell all the way coming through, even from Spintex, it appeared all the way home.
Wow.
Darkness. The last one happened when I got home. It had happened. This was, I think, around 5 something. I got home after 6. I was told it had gone off and we had to sweat it out. I bring it up also because I get, messages, calls from people asking me, hey, you work in the media. What is going on? Because there are different pockets of Accra, and I hear in Kumasi as well, who are facing this. There's the IES statement on Sunon Asogli, but we've also been told about, I just forget the name of the other entity, and everything happening. For us, all we want is stable power supply. That's all. I don't want to have to sweat it out at night after a long day of work. I don't want to go through the entire crisis. Just sort it out. That's all. We are not playing any blame game. We are not blaming anybody. Rectify the situation. Yabre. That's all I wanted to say on that this morning. And good for you that you are not experiencing any power outages.
I hope it remains the same, because
at least not when you are home.
Yeah, I'd hate to not have power when I'm home after a long day's work. But Benjamin, let's get into the newspapers. I want to start with the Daily Graphic, and I'll just go through all the main stories in here briefly. On the front page, 169 agro factories ready under one district, one factory, says the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We also have new SHS curriculum starts. That is a news desk report. Anti-gay bail suit. The Speaker's financial impact assessment sparks controversy in courts. We actually brought you that story in the news, the AM news this morning. Chief Justice launches manual on election adjudication. Let's get straight into it. I want to start with a story about the new senior high school curriculum. So it says the Ministry of Education has rolled out the new curriculum for second cycle schools through its agencies, the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment and the Ghana Education Service. And the curriculum covers senior high schools, senior high technical schools, and science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, that's STEM schools, across the country. So beginning this month, that is a 2024-2025 academic year, the new curriculum is expected to redefine the future of education in the country by nurturing critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. What I do remember is that some parents had some concerns about the time frame between when you complete the first year of school, without waiting, no vacation, no waiting to get the scores of your assessment. You just move straight to Form 2. And there are some concerns. I remember speaking to Kweku Kwatain, and he says, well, they're open to listening to these concerns and see how they can deal with it head on. But Benjamin, this is the first story. Before we continue.
Yes, let's get into that story about fuel prices, price hikes, and how they could translate into transport fares. I'm going to cross over and interact with Mr. Godfred Abulbere. He's General Secretary. He's with the GPRTU. We'd like to find out from them what the latest situation is. Mr. Abulbere, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. I hope you are too.
I'm very fine.
Great.
Yes.
Great. We're hearing some news. Now, there's been talk about the lowering of prices as far as fuel is concerned. And then we've heard talk about the exchange rate and how it could erase all of that. But as far as transport fares are concerned, what is the latest? We heard that there was going to be a hike. Then we were told that indeed there was not going to be a hike. What exactly is the situation as far as the GPRTU is concerned?
I don't know whether you are saying that we heard that there's going to be. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I think from where I got involved in fare increments, we don't deal with issues yet to come. What we know is that the moment the pump price changes, and then typically it triggers off other components which we do consider as factors to consider in terms of fare increments. That's where we would begin to do discussions at the round table. But I don't think fuel increments based on speculations. I don't get clear. No.
I mean, I do know that you look at the prices of lubricants on the market, spare parts and all of that, and you usually put them together, and then you go ahead. But some have also said that in light of the purported decrements, whether current or expected, there could be shifts in prices, whether it's a lowering or otherwise. Though some have said that the exchange rate will eventually mitigate and ensure that the gains may be eroded. But some also say that, listen, every time there is a reduction in price of some of these items, we never go down in terms of the fares. That is the concern, which is why we are curious to find out whether there are discussions to whether decrease the fares in any way.
Yeah, you're right. So the fact is just that we cannot set off a clear example when fares were reduced after the price went down. But what we can put is that we can measure from the COVID time where issue of fuel prices were brought down to a reasonable level for us to reduce the fact. At that time, fares were brought down. That was the only thing we can measure. But like you said, there's still concern to all the traveling public. And that we would always want to look at not only the first, but when the fuel margin comes down and the other components either remain constant or rather have been maybe decreased, and then start to reduce the fare based on purported. That's where the issue.
Okay, so the line was breaking a bit. So what essentially are you saying? Are you saying that for now, nothing is going to change? Is that what you're saying?
No, nothing. Nothing is going to change. Nothing.
Okay, and does that also include the other drivers' unions? We know yours is the biggest, but you collaborate with the others, the concerned drivers, among others. Are you consulting them, or is this just the GPRTU with this stance?
No, when you say concerns, I said no. I disagree. But what we do when the issue of
don't get me wrong. What I was saying was there are so many groupings, including the concerned drivers grouping. There's a name for them. I've just forgotten the full name. I mean, there are different groupings.
GRCC, that's the GRCC.
Right, and I'm saying
GRCC, that's the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council.
Right, and I'm saying that is this a collective decision that you've arrived at, or this is just the GPRTU speaking?
It is a collective decision of the two main bodies.
Okay, all right. So within this last window, within this last quarter of the year, do you think this will stand? This will be stable in this manner till end of year in terms of maintaining transport fares?
Let me assure you that this one will remain. Even if at all there's something that will trigger off, the situation as we are now will not call for fare increment. Even if at all the factors even change and goes up, it will not fare. So what we are that what we are now will maintain until the end of. Can I assure you?
Okay. You say it will be maintained till the end of the year. However, there seems to be a disparity because the concerned drivers grouping, they are saying they think a 15% margin should be in the offing. You disagree?
We disagree. Well, for them, it is not the first of its time. They have been saying so. But whatever they say on air, do materialize. It is not. It is not. They just say it and then they just storm the air and then talk this more than that. But their actions doesn't lead to any results.
Okay. If you look at their statement, let me just take a quick look, a stab at that. You would see that they write saying that purported increase in public transport fares. This is a joint release by the road transport operators. And our attention has been drawn to news going around in some media houses headlined, transport operators announced 15% increase in fares effective 2nd November. We wish to place on record and for the information of drivers and the general public that no such decision has been taken. So if you, and of course you sign it, Mr. Yabua, the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council, also signs it. But with this position adopted by the concerned drivers, at least from what we've heard, some of the talk in there, does that mean that if they go ahead to do any such thing, it would be an illegality?
It will be an illegality. But the word illegality will have to be discussed in context. You see?
And you understand why I'm bringing it up? Because there are times where even without the committee sitting, you go ahead and increase fares. That has happened before. So I don't know whether now, because you are backing out, you can call what they are saying illegal.
Yes. But what I'm saying is that it is not the first of its kind that they have come to do such public announcements. But right now, you see the letter you just read, that communication you just read, comes up and we are the two bodies that are caught with that issue review, and not that. So I just want to make it clear that what we wrote is what was fine.
Mr. Mubiri, so there is no intention as we speak to increase transport fares, as far as you are concerned. There's nothing of that sort.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. No fare increment.
So what happens when commuters pick a car and drivers who may or may not be part of your association decide to increase the fares? What do they do then?
And that is illegal. We said that.
It's illegal?
Yes, because there's nothing that you can measure as a factor that trigger of that increment as of now. There's nothing that you can measure as the factor that trigger of that fare increment.
So what do they do then? Because, I mean, you've put out a statement, you're on here clarifying, but it doesn't mean that those drivers will not still continue to increase those fares. And this is what causes most, the commotion and fights in the buses. What do they do then? Do they report to you? How do they address this? My
sister, in fact, Joy News is the most credible media station that everybody will always want to hear, because you present what is fact.
Yeah.
If I ask you, have you ever taken a clue to go to them to find out any of their pronouncement, whether do they finally effect it or not? You can't get any of their past pronouncement that they do say. Nothing has been effected.
All right. Thank you so much,
yes.
Mr. Abubiri, for joining us.
Thank you, too.
Well, that is Godfred Abulbiri, and he is General Secretary of the GPRTU. He joined the conversation, reassuring that any such thoughts about an increment is not going to happen.
He calls it illegal.
It's interesting because, listen, there have been times, like I pointed out to him, and he agreed, where they hadn't even met with the ministry, the sector ministry, and other parties, and yet they had gone ahead with increments. But we'll see how things go. According to him, till end of year, there shouldn't be any increments. But at the same time, of course, if the prices of commodities change, extremely, if I may put it that way, and if the cost of fuel at the pumps changes, then there could be some things in the offing. But let's get into the papers now. You were going to...
Yes, I want to continue with my stories from the Daily Graphic. It says the Chief Justice launches manual on election adjudication. I think this is launched in every election year. The Chief Justice, Justice Gertrude Tokono, has launched a revised edition of a manual that serves as a guide on the adjudication of electoral disputes in the country, known as the Manual on Election Adjudication in Ghana. It is produced by the Judicial Service and has been launched in every electoral year since 2008. And it is a one-stop shop for everything related to the laws and regulations of elections in the country, housing the compendium of all electoral laws, decided cases on electoral disputes, the rules of procedure adopted by the courts in adjudicating electoral disputes, as well as the processes involved in instituting legal action over election. And Justice Tokono said elections were at the heart of democracy, and therefore the manual was a testament to the Judicial Service's commitment to continuously upholding transparency, fairness, and rule of law to help protect the country's democracy. Just a quote before I end it here. Quote, "It is our resolve to go over and beyond our call of duty to ensure that the relevant law is not only known to judges and lawyers, but available as a useful tool for election administrators," she said. So that's been launched ahead of election 2024. In December, we're just 36 days away. Let me do some other stories. In the Bono region, 169 agro factories ready under one district, one factory, says the president. The story says the government has completed 169 different agro-processing factories under its one district, one factory program to drive the local economy and reduce unemployment, President Akufo-Addo has said. And he said, aside from that, 152 other factories were under construction, explaining that the Bono region had 7 of such factories, out of which 3 were operational. And President Akufo-Addo was speaking at the Bono Regional Stakeholders Engagement in Sunyani last Wednesday to thank the chiefs and people in the region for reposing their trust in him and supporting his administration to succeed. I'm tempted to log on to the performance tracker and see how many of these factories that have been actually listed there as completed, and the others, especially in terms of the Agenda 111 hospitals and all that. Benjamin Akakpo, quick reflections on this, or do I go on?
We've conducted some checks on some of these facilities in the past, and some of them you would see at appreciable levels. I mean, sometimes when we talk of Agenda 111, or actually 1D, 1F, you would think that it's a whole new factory that has been set up. Some are not exactly the case. It's an already established outfit that has been given support to continue with its work and grow its scale up, basically. But some of those that were started from scratch, some you would find, and honestly, some you will not find. So it's a mixed bag. I wish we could be more accurate. I wish we could be less political, because in the end, it's meant to be for all of us. And these are, if you want to industrialize, these are some of the, whether this government is talking about 1D, 1F, and the other side is talking about a 24-hour economy, they are not talking about different things. We like to play politics. It's the same thing. And if we get these things right, in essence, we'll produce a lot of things here, cut down costs of importation, and, do well for our economy. We don't realize, if you look at the Netherlands, for example, they don't grow cocoa there. But the billions of dollars they make every year from processing cocoa, creating products related to cocoa, that is where we ought to be going. But we have, for decades, just played not even second fiddle, maybe I'll say third fiddle or fourth fiddle to these entities. So you produce the thing, you don't do that much processing. Someone else buys it from you. Of course, it is raw. There's not much value that has been added. Processes it and brings it back to you. And sometimes we think some of the entities, I just don't want to mention names. Some of the chocolate and entities you see on the market, I don't want to mention names. We think, oh, they are not. They are from some of these same countries. And then they process and come and sell and say, oh, we are giving a little percentage and doing this. In the end, we are losing out. It's the same with gold that we do. So, and a lot of it is funneled through India, the UAE, Dubai, and others. Then you go back to those same people to go and buy your trinkets, your gold, whatever. You come back and we are just losing on all ends. But
well, Ghana, my country. I love this country. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes when you wake up and you read stories and you see where we are going, you just wonder. Now, on the anti-LGBTQ bill, or the anti-gay bill suit, the Speaker's financial impact assessment sparks controversy. I know that the AG has been given, I think, 7 days to file his statement of case. But let me get into the story. So there was controversy in the Supreme Court yesterday in the suit challenging the anti-gay bill over the existence of a financial impact analysis supposedly prepared by the Speaker of Parliament before the bill was passed. At the Supreme Court yesterday, lawyers from the Office of the Attorney General and the plaintiff challenging the passage of the bill questioned why the Speaker of Parliament had not made available the said analysis, since his lawyers had stated in July that such a document indeed existed. And a Chief State Attorney, Sylvia Adusu, in moving an application for extension of time to enable the AG to file its statement of case, said the AG, the second defendant, had been forced to delay its statement of case due to the failure of the Speaker to produce the analysis. Hence, he's been given, or the Office of the Attorney General has been given 7 days to file their statement of case, and then we'll see if we finally get a ruling on this matter. Let me do some other stories now. Government moves to amend Minerals Development Fund Act. Speaker's financial, we just read that story. Replacement of presidential candidates of Ghana Freedom Party will be costly. I'm interested in this one. So 2 governance and election watchers have observed that the state will incur costs if the Ghana Freedom Party decides to replace its presidential candidate on the ballot paper for the 2024 general election. For context, that is Ikuya Donko's party, the late Ikuya Donko's party. And the 2, that's the Director for Policy Engagement and Partnerships at the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD, Dr. Kojo Asante, and the National Coordinator for the Coalition for Domestic Election Observers, that's CODEO, Albert Ahin, expressed the view in separate interviews with the Daily Graphic, and their comments follow the decision by the Electoral Commission to suspend the printing of the 2024 presidential ballot papers as a result of the passing of the presidential candidate of the GFP. But meanwhile, we already know that the NDC are vehemently opposed, against the automatic adjustment of the, the positions of the various flag bearers on the ballot paper. So they're saying it will cost us some money if we have to replace the presidential candidate. Before I continue, shall we bring in our guest this morning? Okay, let me do some other stories and I'll come to you in a bit. NDC will revamp markets. Work done by NPP will win December election for the party. And employ backlog of idling qualified physician assistants. GCB Bank holds breast cancer awareness seminar, of course, and Sunyani West, can NPP maintain dominance? Women in agribusiness. I'm just running through the various stories in the Daily Graphic, and I'll come to you in a bit. Women in Agribusiness Conference ends in Ho. Bank of Ghana urges IMF to maintain zero-interest PRGT support. Let me get into this a bit. So the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. N.S. Addison, has said the timing for the resumption of the charging interest rates on the Poverty Reduction and Growth Trust is inappropriate, as most PRGT-eligible countries are still facing significant challenges. He said the IMF's charges and the surcharges policy should avoid adding financial burdens on countries facing fiscal challenges. At this point, let me hold on and Benjamin will bring in our guest, and then we continue the conversation.
Well, we have joining the conversation Isaac Odampton. He's the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Tema East. Thank you for coming, sir.
And thank you for having me.
I mean, we've already started discussing a number of issues, from fuel prices and unlikely, and I say unlikely, transport fare increments, because we just had an interaction this morning with the GPRTU's General Secretary. We've spoken about some state-run policies, new SHS curriculum. If you look at today's Daily Guide, we'll be talking about 85% of Ghanaians wanting free SHS maintained, according to the Afrobarometer report. Of course, you can pick and choose because there are so many other things to look at in there. But we usually give the opportunity for about a minute to our guests to share thoughts on something very pertinent. What would you talk about this morning?
Yeah, thank you, and let me extend my regards to our cherished viewers this morning. You listen or you read the tabloids, and all you get is a sense of disconnect in most of our public policy formulation and implementation. When you mentioned the unlikely and highlighted that unlikely fuel increases, I would go with you, except to say that sometimes what the leadership of organized labor, in this case the transport operators, may stand for may not reflect the true state of operators. But it's assuring that leadership is providing that leadership and assuring the Ghanaian populace that they do not anticipate increases. I think that is key, because anything that affects our transport system and if you look at the number of operators within that sector, it's always important that we keep our eyes on that sector and ensure that the country runs efficiently and effectively when it comes to transport management. The second issue you mentioned, which is dear to my, probably I should have rated that first, is the fact that the new curriculum for our SHS is out. Tied to that is the fact that many Ghanaians, and the record says 85% of Ghanaians would want SHS to continue to be free. And it's assuring that most, or the two major parties are now touting free SHS as something that has come to stay. His Excellency, the former President John Dramani Mahama, has made it categorically clear that he would not scrap free SHS. He's gone ahead to underpin his original commitment to making free SHS free, but at the time, progressively. Now we say, yes, it has come to stay, and we support it. We've never been against free SHS. We've been against the implementation and how it was rolled out. And that is
let's be fair. You see, that's the thing with politics. When something is said, sometimes when it's trickling down, people attack it in a certain way, and then it comes out looking awkward. Some members of your party attacked it, making it appear it wasn't a good thing, that there was no...
His Excellency John Dramani Mahama.
Yes, but I'm saying that is why...
Your interjection is on John Dramani Mahama.
No, that is why it is important. It's not... John Dramani Mahama doesn't go on radio and TV every morning to speak on different platforms. That is the point I'm making to political actors, that let whatever information that you think is the right thing trickle down. Because if John Dramani Mahama says one thing and others go around saying other things, what do you think the people will pick? It is what they hear from these other people that they will pick. So let's stick to the message. If leaders say this is it, let your party operatives stick to that message. Because there are many of your party operatives who also made it appear that this may not have been the best thing. It is good to know now that it's a good thing, but maybe it's not being implemented in the best of ways, and you have some of those solutions. You can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. But is it your point, and is it your position that currently, in the lead up to the 2024 elections, you have this confusion about whether free SHS is going to continue or not? Is that the case?
It is not my confusion, but guess what? Why do you have, I see some of your ads, the campaigns, trying to clarify. Why are you trying to clarify? Because for the masses, that confusion exists. That is it not?
Yeah, you have.
Is that not why you're trying to clarify?
No, you have a point. But the point I made earlier is the fact that right from the lead up to 2020 elections, we had said SHS must be progressively free. No one would argue against this position. That we are saying that the wholesale implementation of free SHS can be problematic. Indeed, the finance minister, since I entered parliament, has himself, usually I want to hold the responsibility bearers, those who really matter in matters for our discussion. And so when the finance minister supports the earlier position of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then you must understand that the issue is not about free, but it's about how we implement what the Constitution invites us to make free for all of us. And we chose earlier to make it progressive. Now at this time or moment in time, it's already implemented with its challenges. We all know that it has a lot of challenges. So what the NDC has done is to identify the major challenges, which are infrastructure, even syllabus, and that is why I raised the issue. I'll come back to the issue of syllabus. The school environment, we have said that procurement at secondary schools, to the extent that these have been centralized, is part of the problem. Because if you want to even use free SHS to ignite or to give a boost to your economy, there's a way to do it. And simply by decentralizing and allowing communities or regions to deal with the major procurement issues within the schools, you would have been helping, for example, even food producers within regions who become the major suppliers, or the schools would have off-takers within their region. And so the hula baloo about free SHS, and per what Afrobarometer has indicated, is that most Ghanaians will want it to be free. And I'm happy that John Dramani Mahama has made it so clear that we would continue with free SHS and we would indeed improve upon it.
Mr. Odamton, a very quick point. We have
Right.
to move on. We're actually almost done with the review. But recently, the Education Minister, Yaosei Educhum, has also said, Dr. Educhum has also said that he has heard talk about phasing out the shift system, and that a rushed phasing out of that system could prove problematic, that they've added infrastructure on, you just spoke about it and all that. What's your thinking on that? Because that's something that has been said, that we don't need this dual system going on, different tracks, students spending very little time in class and all of that. But this is what the Education Minister is saying. Your reaction?
No, but you see, the major challenge of less contact hours in our schools must be addressed. And I want to invite all media people to deal with the major issues of our country. If you tell me people have gone to school from Form 1 to Form 3 and they've done virtually 60% of what their contact hours should be, then
Mr. Dumpton, we're on the same page on that. We agree with you.
Yeah,
let me speak for myself.
No, but I was going to give you an example.
But the point
that
we are making is this is what he's
as
saying.
the mayor of Tema.
How does it reflect?
Okay. I want to deflate what he's saying, that there's no commitment to government in dealing with the real issue. And let me cite myself as an example. I served as mayor of Tema from 2013 November to 2016 December. In my 2015-2016, I had set the base. So in 2016 alone, we put up 12-story building school infrastructure, completed 6 in 11 months. The point I'm making is that if a government is not committed to a policy and they just want to make political capital out of the policy, they will run away from the true needs of the country. They will run away from what is needed to make the policy effective. And one of it is that within 1 year, we can improve the classroom stock of our schools.
John
Drama Mama has said something.
Hold on a second. You're saying now on record that in 1 year, if the Ghanaian people give John Dramani Mahama the mandate and the NDC within a year of assumption of office, you can fix our infrastructural gaps or challenges in terms of...
I've given you a practical example where in 11 months, I put up 3-story huge school infrastructure.
No, but I think what we are trying to clarify is, are you speaking
Yeah.
for yourself and maybe Tema East, or are you speaking for the NDC? Are you speaking for the party that within a year, this...
You are able
just clarify for us.
Yeah, I speak for myself and for the NDC. For the NDC, John Dramani Mahama has said that he would not initiate any new infrastructure, not any, but he's going to focus on uncompleted infrastructure. He's made this so clear at every platform. And so all the schools that you go to Tema Mahia Secondary School, there's a Get Fund project that started in 2017. It's still at the foundation structure level. The way in which you improve that is to quickly complete that infrastructure. Okay. You go to most of our secondary schools, the challenge of shift and low contact hours is infrastructure, and government is not committed. Look at the many...
We have to get into other stories because
right.
we have to go. So let me do this briefly. Ben, I just wanted to put this out because it's a caution from the Volta Basin Authority. They're saying that the Greater Accra and Volta regions are likely to experience medium impact flooding driven by anticipated rainfall and rising river levels in those areas. So we should take notes. Benjamin, we can do your paper now.
Okay. Since you have the news center, Mr. Odamton, I would just like you to do the headlines. We're out of time, so maybe if there's something you'd like to reflect on there, you can just do the headlines and maybe pick something in some 20 seconds that you can reflect on.
Okay, just maybe 10 seconds on what he just read, the flooding issue in Greater Accra. I think that's one thing that I want to invite media people to go or delve into the Garrett project. The Garrett project was supposed to make Accra resilient to flood and flood-prone issues within our region. But unfortunately, sad to say, the over $300 million funding that was procured to deal with 9 major storm drains within Greater Accra has gone waste. Has gone waste to the extent that we have lots allocated to contractors who have not seen the site they are supposed to work at, but they have been paid over $2 million.
That is a conversation we can have.
Yes, and so it's very important that we begin to look at some of these things. Oh, this is.
We just have enough time for the headlines,
Okay.
not to get
Okay.
so maybe just the headlines, and you can pick one.
I'm happy to note that Dan Paris reforms at the Ghana Police Service has received attention from our VP. I want to urge the IGP to push professionalism in our police service, because we will need them for the 24-hour economy when it takes off. We will need a strong police.
Okay.
Then,
Unfortunately, we can't do more. We are already out of time. So
but I want to mention, Bagbin assures Council of State of early November parliamentary recall.
Yes, he did say that.
Yes, and that is assuring. Again, the subject matter that is bringing this assurance is the fact that we are at a crossroad as a country where the three arms of governments must be truly separated and they must function. I do not promote that they must be independent to the extent that there wouldn't be any checks. But we ought to understand that the arms of governments are necessary for the effective running of our country.
All right.
The extent to which we want to, victimize or vandalize Parliament and even bring their
Isaac,
budget.
Thank you so much.
Bring
Maybe
their
another
budget.
time we can give you
We're going to have to
more
wrap
time
it
to
here.
do this, yeah.
Next time we'll have more
Permit
time.
me to greet my Tema East constituents. And sorry I came late because I was given 7 a.m. But next time I'll get your time right.
Thank you. Thank you for coming through. That is Isaac Odampton, the NDC's parliamentary candidate for Tema East. And of course, he is the member of parliament as well. It doesn't change the fact that you're still standing on the ticket.
Yeah, I am. I mean, the first one is more
of the party.
Just so that
I would like to thank Mudasiru one more time for outfitting me, clothing me this morning with this wonderful shirt. You can locate him. You can actually reach him on 0557 029 138. 0557 029 138. And on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at SIRU-Africa. So that's how we cap it off.
Yes, please stay for Prime Take with Muftar Nabil Abdullahi for our AM Sports segment.